Hey guys, Rob Quinn here. We're going to discuss how to control the cold call and how to do this effectively. A lot of people believe there's a contradicting belief that cold calling is dead. But the truth is, and I can tell you from experience, having landed an $18,000 a month deal on a 6-month contract and landing other big clients like a $22,500 a month deal on a contract done via cold calling, which you can find on my YouTube, that it is not dead. It's just evolved, and it requires a much higher level of thinking and control in order to create the desired outcome you want, to be able to book the appointment with whomever you want to book an appointment with. So let's go ahead and dive into some of those key elements here. This is how you're going to be able to liberate yourself from an empty pipeline. And really all you need is a cell phone and understanding the psychology behind this process. There's a lot of moving pieces when it comes to how to effectively cold call, and all of those elements we're going to discuss here today. So which niches to talk to and why those are the best niches to talk to, how to filter and pre-qualify the buyers before you ever call them, the best times to make the call, establishing immediate rapport, how to deal with the no's, our exact scripts, a checklist of what you need before you actually book the appointment, and how to effectively follow up. And then my personal quote to live by, which we'll get to here in a second. But the high ticket niches that we suggest a cold call have a few rules behind them. First of all, you need to be able to understand the lifetime value of that specific customer for that type of niche. And the reason why is you don't want to call a restaurant that is going to tell you that they make like $40 per table. That person will come back like 6 times in a year or something like that. It's only $240 per customer. It's going to be really, really difficult to see a high return on ad spend really quickly. So if you're focusing on let's say you're focusing on like a traffic attorney, right? Or let's say like a personal injury attorney where they're working on truck accidents. That's like a $5,000 to $10,000 case. And those things are very, very quick turnarounds, right? So that leads us to our next part of the rules here is you need a buying cycle, which means from the time that you get them or they get a client on the phone or in front of them, they can close that deal within 90 days or less. This way they can see a return before their contract ends. That's why it's so important to make sure you understand that the buying cycle of their customers 90 days or less. The decision maker, you need minimal hierarchy to get to the decision maker. So what that means is you don't want to have to deal with, I know we talk about like how I was able to close a Fortune 500 company. The truth is you don't want to go after clients like that. And the reason why is because you're going after multiple tiers of hierarchy to get through all of those. And the majority of the time, your sales process has to be completely on point if you go after companies like that, which you'll have here in the art of sales. But if you're focusing on clients like that, the majority of the time, you are not going to get to the main decision maker because it's everyone else underneath them in that hierarchy that they trust to make the right decision for them, and the decision maker will sign off on it. So you have to be so good at selling the actual deal that they go to bat for you and tell the decision maker that this is what they want to do. So that's typically why you don't want too much hierarchy in between, and sometimes it takes longer to get to the decision maker. So for that reason, or for these 3 rules, right, these 3 reasons, these are the specific niches that we would suggest if you go after trucking, smaller trucking companies, to where you could just talk to the HR department or head of recruiting, dealing with contractors, any type of service-based contractor, any type of recruiting company, right, because you're usually going to talk to the owner, or you're going to talk to the HR or head of recruiting, attorneys, and real estate, because the agents are available. And as you guys know, real estate is the niche that we work with in our agency. So here's how you pre-qualify and filter the buyers. The easiest way to do it is to make sure that they're already spending money on ads. Okay, that's the most important part. Everybody wants to go after any company on Facebook that they just find a profile, any business they walk by, anybody in the maps section on Google. But the truth is, it's so much easier to be able to move budget than to create budget. So don't create more friction for yourself in landing an appointment with somebody that will spend money, and just make sure that they're already spending money. This way they'll be more interested in buying because they can move money around. And I'll include a video on how to be able to find those specific people spending money, and those that don't actually have a pixel, that are also spending money, because that's also a double whammy if you can do that, which is how I was always closing e-commerce clients before Temple and I partnered in an agency for real estate. So I'm going to show you exactly how to do that underneath this video. Best times of day to call. So this is going to really help you with your time blocking, because every day you should be time blocking or do it at the beginning of the week for the week. So this way you can be way more productive with your hours. So from 8 to 11 a.m., this is when you make your legitimate cold call. Okay, this is your prospecting. And now from this point, they've never heard of you before. You've never talked to them. This is a very cold call. Business owners are more receptive and alert, and they're going to be willing to listen to you more at this hour. They're going to be less pissed off about the day. From 1 to 7, and I put till 7 p.m. because if you're on the coast, then 5 to 7 on the coast is going to be 3 to 5 Central Time. So it's, you can basically be calling from 1 to 7 for follow-ups. See, these people will pick up because they've already heard from you before. They know who you are, or their gatekeeper knows you, so they'll forward you on. So it's a lot easier to be able to get a hold or get the attention of the decision maker, and they're actually going to be more receptive to talk to you because they already recognize who you are. So you want to take advantage of that relationship. If you want to make phone calls on the weekends, because there was a point in time where I was doing this just to try to fill up my pipeline a little faster when I first started building my book of business. And you can call car dealerships, which I personally don't like to sell because of the type of person, like the type of people that they are and their mindset makes it harder. It's a different type of sales. But they're great to call on the weekends because they're always there. The GMs usually are, or their managers. Real estate agents, attorneys, contractors, these are all great because you're going to be able to reach the decision maker right away because they're the one that answers their phone. So nailing the introduction, this is super important because you only get a few seconds to make the best first impression. So you need to make sure you're prompt, okay? And you deliver who you are and what you do. None of this like, hey, want to see how you're doing, and just no fluff, no weather shit. Just your intention, exactly what you do, okay? We'll give you a script for that here in a slide or two. Treat them like the decision maker. So first of all, everybody wants to be treated important, right? They want to make sure that they are treated as being very important, okay? People respect that. So when you treat the gatekeeper like the decision maker, you immediately build trust with them, because a lot of the time, they aren't treated that well where they work. Or they're treated well, but they're never considered to be a person of power in where they work. So to be able to give them that level of respect will give you immediate rapport. And that's exactly why you should always do that for each tier of the hierarchy. Do not stutter, okay? There's a reason for that. Any indicator of you sounding unsure immediately will eliminate any form of credibility that you have, which, by the way, you already don't have any, because they don't know who you are. So you need to make sure you're sharp as a tack when you talk to them. You need to make sure that you know exactly what you're there to say, because you don't have more than but a few seconds to be able to do that. No ums or uhs. And the reason for that, the way the mind works, and you've probably realized this, right? See, I'm doing it right now. It can become basically like a defense mechanism for your brain to be able to constantly try to catch up to the next thing that you want to say. So it's thinking, your brain is thinking of the next thing to say. So you want to constantly condition yourself to be able to not have to use the ums or the uhs, and replace that in conversation. Anytime that you're talking to a customer, saying things like, that's a great question, or any variation of acknowledgement, because what that does is, yes, it falls into our inception selling method, the 3-step selling method, but also it's going to give your brain time to catch up to what you want to say next. And you're going to have more time to do that. If you say, or you say, it's not that that's going to be taken as unprofessional, but if you can replace it with acknowledgement, it kills 2 birds with 1 stone, because you have more time to think in that split second, and then also you're acknowledging the customer. So you build more rapport that way as well. Super, super important. And the other thing you want to keep in mind is you want to make sure you are the best friend that they've never met. When you pick up the phone to call these people, okay, or you answer the phone, either way, you want to make sure that you're so confident, okay, that when you call them, you're so confident they are literally your long lost best friend. When you call them, you say, "Hey, Jeffrey, what's going on?" And they say, "Well, oh, hey, what's going on? Who's this?" I'm telling you right now, guys, whether you're in door-to-door sales or whether you're selling over the phone and booking appointments over the phone, this works. People used to let me in their house selling Kirby vacuums door to door. I would just knock on the door and say, "Hey, what's going on? How you doing? It's Rob. What's up?" They say, "Hey, how you doing? Come on in." That was it. A lot of the time I could get into the house to do the demo that way. Same thing whenever you're cold calling. If you know the decision maker's name, which you could do a little bit of research if you want to, I wouldn't suggest wasting your time that way. I would get the decision maker's name from the gatekeeper. But you would just call back and say, "Hey, yeah, is Jeff there? It's Rob." They're going to say, "Oh, yeah, definitely, Rob. Here we go." And they'll push you forward. So a lot of the time, that helps a ton, okay? Dealing with the no's, very simple, okay? Here's the thing. When you deal with a no, if you get a no on a cold call, completely different than when you're actually on the appointments. When you're on the appointment and you know they're qualified, okay, and they're telling you no to a ridiculous question that you asked, a lot of them might be rhetorical based on the process that we give you with the objection handling sheets. You do not deal with no's in the cold call, okay? If they are not in the position to buy, you do not try to sell them. They are saving you time by telling you no. All right, so don't fuck with it. Just don't, because it's a waste of time. If they're telling you no on the phone, they're definitely not going to be receptive on a 1-hour presentation. Even if they're interested, they're still not going to be completely bought in. So get the heck out of that call. End it. You don't have to end it and be and be rash about it. Just end the call and say, "Well, I appreciate your time and thanks," and just jump off. That's it. All right, so here's our script. We'll add one more script in underneath this, along with some other live cold calls of us booking appointments using these two scripts, right? So this is the first one. The second one will be under this video. And it's a very, very simple script. Here's what it would sound like if I were calling a trucking company, all right, to help with their recruiting. "Hey, Susie, my name's Rob. I was calling because I've had a lot of success partnering with trucking companies to help partner with trucking companies to find more qualified applicants. I was hoping to speak with whomever handles that responsibility over there to show them my step-by-step process exactly how we do that. Maybe possibly partner up." So who would I need to talk to over there about that? And it's that simple, guys. You can see the tonality behind this is huge, because you're not just going to read off to say, "Hey, Susie, my name is Rob. I've had a lot of success partnering with trucking companies to generate more quality applicants." It just sounds boring. So you need to make sure that you have enthusiasm, right, when you talk, and you make sure you're, you're upbeat. Just like I said, remember, you're the best friend they've never met. So let's go through this again. "Hey, Susie, my name is Rob. I was calling because I've had a lot of success partnering with recruiters to find more quality applicants, and I was hoping to speak with whomever over there handles that responsibility to show them my step-by-step process, how exactly we do that, and possibly partner up. Would you be that person, or I need to talk to somebody else?" And adding that last line in there, "Would you be that person, or should I talk to somebody else?" will help give them that power. Remember, make them the decision maker, or make them feel like they are. So your checklist. So when you book the appointments, okay, there's a few things that you need. You need to make sure you have all of the decision makers' names, not just the one that is willing to talk to you. And you can, if you go behind that process and you ask the decision maker's name, you can say, "Is there anybody else that would need to be on this appointment in case you guys decided you want to pull the trigger on moving forward with this specific program?" So this way you can make sure that you have all the decision makers on the call to shorten the length of the buying cycle here, right? So this way you can sell them faster. You need to make sure you're in the right time zones, okay? That could be a big slip up, so make sure you know where they're at. You want to make sure you have both the decision makers' emails, so this way you could also put them in the calendar invite. Make sure they're on your side as well, okay? So let's say you're booking with the gatekeeper and the gatekeeper books you on their calendar, which doesn't happen as often, but it will happen sometimes. Or you're talking to the decision maker. You want to make sure that, like, "Hey, based on what you saw here and based on what you talked about, does this sound like something you'd be interested in and pulling the trigger on if you like the program?" And they would say yes or no. It's a really, really good pre-qualifying question. Great trial close. Make sure you have the appointment reminders set up on your Google Calendar. Okay, you want to make sure they're getting reminders of the appointment. So important to do this because a lot of time, guys, I mean, we all face this sometimes too. Life gets to us sometimes. It gets busy. All right, so don't let that take advantage of you. All right, and don't let that slip up your customer, your prospect either, because they will sometimes just forget, not on purpose or not because they don't want to talk to you, they'll just forget. So make sure those appointment reminders are set up. Going into the follow-up portion of this, to get the decision maker's name, you want to make sure that one way or the other you get the decision maker's name, either from the gatekeeper or if you get to talk to them, the first time, obviously that's the best. You want to request their email and to be sent to their voicemail. I know this sounds like what a lot of people aren't doing, but that $18,000 a month deal I landed with that Fortune 500 company was acquired through using this process I'm showing you here and leaving them a voicemail, and they called me back. Okay, so it depends on the type of company and the voicemail you leave. So when I leave a voicemail, here's what that looks like. It's very, very simple. Hey, Susie, my name's Rob. I've had a lot of success partnering with recruiters to find more quality applicants, and I was looking forward to the chance to show you step by step exactly how we do that. You could reach me at 816 blah 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 blah. Look forward to hearing back from you. And you can see that the tonality in your voice is super important, because if you listen to a voicemail, they need to feel like it's not a machine and need to feel it's not scripted. So you can go over this a few times and maybe listen to this specific slide in this part of the video to continue to obviously replay that. Sending the follow-up email is so simple. If you have the email, just let them know initially that you left them a voicemail and you're looking forward to hearing back from them. That's it. And be methodical on your callbacks, guys. Don't call them back every single day, twice a day. They will block you, okay? They will block you. So make sure you ask the gatekeeper when the best times are to follow up with the decision maker. It's impossible to be wrong if you have all the right answers. So let them know that you want to do this to be respectful of their time, and the gatekeeper will be more receptive to want to give you that. So this will make you more professional on your callback time frames every 3 days. So you can call them back at the times that best suit them and be able to have a gap in between the times that you do that, so you're not annoying, right? They're not thinking you're annoying. So this is the cold call, how to control the cold call. I hope you can put this in play and let us know how effectively this is working for helping you book appointments, because remember, you are exactly what the world needs. Okay, pick up the phone and do something about it. See you on the next video.